romantic. The man in the room looks so dramatic with a tattoo on his right foot. This wide road traffic feels too dramatic. Too dramatic. Quiet. The man is walking around. Where's the way out he never found? And inside, there's a moment of land.
Okay, this is Diesel for We the People News. This is continuing the last video I did, and I'm leaving, starting off from the place I left off before because things was coming up and running out of time. We know how time affects y'all out there. So this is just a learning video. I'm not an attorney, don't care to be an attorney. I always look around me. Never straightforward, because the outside forces may want to commit harm upon me, whether it's a thing or a man or woman or government. This is going to pop up every now and then because, well, I don't know how to shut it off. Number one, I'm not a genius on these things, okay? And I really don't spend a whole lot of time studying it because I do more other studyings and things like that. But let's proceed forward on this.
All right, come back and tell me. I'll put it on the air, and we'll either it worked, and we'll do it again, or we'll find out what we need to do and fix it. But we're going to train ourselves to the answer, right? Because we're the only ones that can do it. That's my story. I'm sticking to it. Okay, hang on a second. So, this video is really just a lot of background information I'm hopefully telling to people who have never heard me talk before, right? People from the military. And so, bear with me, brothers and sisters. I know that you are hard to impress, and you've been lied to a lot. It's a fucking bad day in America, but there is an answer, right? So, here recently I did a video on, these are on my YouTube site, which is Rob Ryder with 3 V's, R-O-B-B-B, R-Y-T-E-R. General Berger, Court Martial Joe Biden. If you were to watch that video, you would see that I'm showing the text of the oath that Joe Biden should have taken, and we're going to listen to the oath words that he did take. And then we can say, well, that's not the same, so then that would mean that he did not qualify for the office of President of the United States. And if he did not qualify for the office of President of the United States, then he cannot be the Commander-in-Chief. Yeah, that's the office he's claiming, and under the UCMJ, that would be called a false appointment. Right? So you could file with your commander a charge against, we'll look at the exact number it is, but against Joe Biden, whatever the hell his real name is, right? Got to go this stuff proper, do it by the book. Right? That he did not qualify and that he's violated this particular section of the UCMJ. And put it in, and if the officer will sign it, well then, you know, go grab a chair and watch what happens. It should be a pretty interesting time after that. Right? I mean, that's the one thing you need an officer for is you need his freaking signature. You can't get shit done in the military unless you get an officer to sign the damn paper. Right? They're acting like your agent. You may want something done, but your agent has to agree. And, you know, they'll give you all sorts of stuff in the military. You sign your name and get an officer to sign their name, well, they'll give you a tank. Right? You're responsible for it. It's all yours, brother. Right? You better come back with every bolt nut, but at the end of the day, they'll give it to you. So anyways, that video there is very good to watch. And then this one about Esquire's conspiracy to defraud the United States. This is what's happening. Right? Our country has been taken over by Esquires, which are agents of the Crown for the United States of America, which is Crown property. It's not the Republic, United States. It's somehow it's just tied to the British government through the Bill of Rights. All right, all bills are going to courts of chancery. So, you know, they say Bill of Rights. That went into court of chancery someplace. And the court I went into, the Court of Chancery, is in England, which is part of the government. Right? They don't have a separation of church and state in England. The church is, or the state is the church. So it's not necessarily a Christian church. Right? It's doing things by Talmudic law. Okay, hang on. One last thing. And while you're watching, watch this one here. Place of birth is not a hospital. And I'll show you, what your certificate of live birth looks like and what it asks for if you want to get a passport. You're supposed to bring in your birth certificate. But the thing you have says certificate of live birth, and when you look at what the one requires compared to what you have, your document doesn't have the information required to get a U.S. passport. So instead, they give you a passport for the United States of America. Right? Boom. Put yourself in the wrong jurisdiction. Just like that. Right? You volunteered to go to that jurisdiction. So, not only did Joe Biden not take the property, but if you go to the 6th article of the Constitution of the United States, where it says, right now, this is a .gov, Congress.gov. Congress.gov says this Constitution is called the Constitution of the United States. Don't let somebody tell you this is the Constitution of the United States of America. No, this is the Constitution of the United States for the United States of America, because these two jurisdictions existed, and they're, one is inside the other. It's just the democracy has now become the size of the entire republic, because it's basically Shanghaied everyone. But in the Constitution, it says that the senators or representatives, before mentioned, and the members of the several state legislatures, and all executive and judicial officers, both the United States and the several states, shall be bound by oath or affirmation to support this Constitution. But no religious test shall ever be required as a qualification to any office of public trust under the United States. Well, there you go. Now, what this doesn't tell you is that, right after they got the Constitution done, they started writing laws. They put them in these things called the statutes at large. And the very first law passed after the ratification of this document called the Constitution of the States is known as 1 Stat, S-T-A-T 23. We'll look at it here in a little bit, but that's the nomenclature for the first law, within which it says this is the oath that satisfies the 6th article of the Constitution. And it tells the words. Right? Well, nobody's taken that oath. Right? It's I, state your name, do solemnly swear to support the Constitution of the United States. Period. But that isn't the oath they take. And
on previous videos, I showed the oath they've taken, because I did do it for request on judges and sheriffs and all that. And he is absolutely correct. And he's actually absolutely correct on the statute. There's a reason why I liked him, because according to my research, he's coming up with the same answers that I am. And that makes him factually accurate.
Prove it to you. Right, so where's the proof? Ratlusky, I'll show you. Prove it to you. I just got to remember where I got it at. Here we go. So, if we were to go look at the Congressional Record, which you can pull up online, right, Thursday, January 28, 2021, House of Representatives, and you were to cruise down this thing a little bit, you would see that at some point in the day, after an adjournment, where we're done working for the day, they're going to pretend that they're putting this oath of office for the members into the record. And the oath that they're going to say they put in, that said, first of all, says, oath of office required by the 6th article of the Constitution of the United States, and as provided by this other section, to be administered by members, 2 members, da-da-da. But this is talking about 2 different oaths. The oath of office is required by the 6th article of the Constitution of the United States, comma, right? That's one oath. And as provided by Section 2 of an act is the other oath. And this here is the other oath. This oath is the oath that was taken by former Confederate officers or, helpers, whatever the proper term would be, so that they could hold an office in their state's government after the Civil War. But this is not the oath that satisfies the 6th Article of the Constitution. And it has a religious test, so help me God. So this can't satisfy the 6th Article of the Constitution. Right? But this is the oath that they said they took. And then they said they took it using this style of name, like Jerry L. Carl. Well, that's not anybody's full legal name. If you really wanted to, you could go look up the Real ID Act and search in it for full legal name, and you would find out that, well, you have to use your full legal name for legal matters with the United States. Well, they didn't do it. Right? None of these people are using their full legal name on their oath of office, which isn't the proper oath of office to start with, but they would say, well, we filed an oath of office. This is what we put in. Now, if you're going to accept that NCO as acceptable to you, well, then you get to live in the world that you live in, and these fuckers can tell you to go to Afghanistan, or wherever else they want to take you to next. But none of these people are your government. They didn't take the proper oath of office. On top of that, when they got all done, they said, well, let's take another one. Hell, well, let's do another oath so we can get classified information. Well, that made them spies. Every one of these fucktards is a spy, and that's a hanging offense. It's in the court-martial manual. Right, so every person in here could be tried for court-martial and hung for being a spy. But to do that, you have to have a general court-martial. Right, you can't do it in a U.S. District Court. Can't do it in the Supreme Court. You can only do it in a court-martial court. Well, that's what the military has. Right, and all these people always stand in front of the gold fringe flag. So let's talk about that real quick, right? Everybody should look at this. If you've never looked at it, doesn't matter what branch you're in.
Now, to be honest with you guys, right from the start on this, he's talking about Biden on this, right? But he did bring up the exact same thing on Trump, how he was not a president. And the president before then, Obama, Bush, there hasn't been a real president since before Lincoln. All right? So, for argument's sake, if Trump came back in and we clean this mess up, Trump would be the 17th president. Not the numbers they're saying now, because of the martial law effects.
Yeah. Army Regulation 840-10. You need to know this. This is like the signs of the times. Right, where it says in here, get through all the yada, 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 get the first chapter, unauthorized use of official flags, guidons, or streamers, so that would be the flag, right? There is no law that permits sale, loan, or donation of flags, guidons, or streamers to individuals or organizations not in military service, except as indicated by 1 and 2. Well, 1's educational, so schools can have them, and 2 is retired general officers. But that doesn't make any provision for your township supervisor to have one, or your school board to have one, or the county commissioners to have one, or, you know, the governor to have one, or any of these people. The only way you can have one is if you are somehow part of the military. And if you're part of the military, well, then you're subject to the Uniform Code of Military Justice, which means an enlisted man can charge you. Now, if we go to Chapter 2, and we go down here to National Flag listed below, for the purpose of the flag of the United States, will be rayon, banner cloth, heavy nylon, trimmed on 3 sides with gold and yellow fringe. All right, and that's the flag that's used for indoor display and for ceremonies and parades. All right, so now who can have it? Authorized for indoor display. The flag of the United States is authorized for indoor display for each. If you read these things, you'll soon understand, well, these are all some type of military office. Like right here, military courtroom. Well, then why are there 2 of them hanging in the Supreme Court? Right? Is the Supreme Court not the judicial branch of the government, but it's actually a military court? Well, yes, that's what's happening. And they can also fly in chapels. And this is the other thing. All the major denominations all have a gold fringe flag. And that's because they were all given a military commission by the Department of War in 1917. And they still have it. And so they're supposed to be acting as our cooperating agent. But for like the parishioners or members of that church to engage with other agencies of the government, but they're not doing it. And you know, I'm tired of trying to talk about it. It's like, well, you know, let me go talk to an NCO, see if I can get ahead of yourself. So that's the idea, right? That every civilian court that people walk into has got a gold for its leg. Well, brothers and sisters, you're in a military court. You need to say, I demand trial by court-martial. That's an Army flag. I demand trial by court-martial. I'm not putting up with no provost court or no fucking commission or no other bullshit. I want general court-martial. Right? Once you tell me you want a court-martial, they got to treat you different. So I don't know how these people, these esquires who sit in these courts, got these positions, exactly what the agreement is, but I have heard somebody tell me before that, like, the prosecutor for your county, he also has some kind of military rank or description or something else. Well, that's what I'm talking about. They're under military jurisdiction. We're not under a constitutional government. It's been suspended, and it's just the way it is. Where was that at? Real quick. Where? All right, so here's the Lieber Code, which was, this is the 24th of April, 1863. So before the proclamation, these, you know, this is an order, basically, given to the government of the armies of the United States in the field. Well, did you know that U.S.Army stands for Army of the United States? It doesn't stand for United States Army. U.S.Army, according to the GPO manual, Government Printing Office Style Manual, says that's the Army of the United States. And so we've been under this ever since 1863. But it says a place, district, county occupied by an enemy stands in consequence of the occupation under the martial law of the invading or occupied army, whether any proclamation declaring martial law or any public warning to the inhabitants has been issued or not. Martial law is the immediate and direct effect of consequences of occupation or conquest. So any place you see in a state, you see the flag planted, you know, the United States flag, that's occupation. Right? Basically, the whole United States is, or all the several states are at war with the United States. Put it that way. Well, actually, all the states have been vacated, and these other entities that are corporate governments have taken their place, and they're trying to pretend to be the United States or the several states. So there is no Michigan anymore. Now it's called State of Michigan. But its proper name would just be Michigan. Right? That's how the federal government would recognize it, as Michigan. But they, the state, call themselves the State of Michigan. It's all in the wordplay. Look at, martial law does not cease during the hostile occupation, except by special proclamation or ordered by the commander-in-chief, or by special mention in a treaty of peace concluding the war. Well, that never happened after the Civil War. It just ended in an armistice, which is, you know, basically a ceasefire. And there's been no proclamation until somebody sends a copy to me to say, well, here it is. There is no proclamation. Ordered by the commander-in-chief to end martial law over the entire United States. There were proclamations written to end it in a particular state or whatever, but, you know, it's not the same as what Lincoln wrote. He said the entire United States, and so it's the entire United States. Until that proclamation is written, well, the United States is under martial law, which is the federal government. It's not the state government. Right? So if you want to be protected by the federal government, you need to be seen in the United States, but they have us all in the United States of America. So now we look like we're enemies of the United States. But if we could ever cross back the Union lines, well, then, you know, we would be seen in a different status. Yeah. Some more little details. You got to have all these little details to build a foundation. So that's really what I'm trying to do now, is just show these little things, you know, that are, it's written. You can allow somebody to convince you that what it says isn't what it says, or you can say for yourself, well, it says what it says, and you're a liar. Because that's what esquires do. They're going to lie to you. They're going to try to get you to agree with their fucking line of bullshit. And you need to be able to say, well, no, it says right here. Right? This is 1 Stat 23, Statute 1, Chapter 1, an act to regulate the time and manner of administering certain oaths, in which it says the oath or affirmation required by the 6th article of the Constitution of the United States. Well, that's what that document said it was. It said that was the Constitution of the United States. We just read it a minute ago. Shall be administered in the following form, to wit, I state your name, do solemnly swear or affirm that I will support the Constitution of the United States. Period. And you could go on to read this and tell you this is for the senators, representatives, and the state legislators, and so forth and so on, and right, all executive judicial officers, several states who have been hereto chose or appointed, yada, 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 on and on and on. They all have to do this. And then if they don't do it, well, it's their fault. Right? And each officer shall incur the same penalties in case of failure as shall be imposed by law for failure taking their respective oath of office. Well, under English common law, since the time of Henry VIII, it's been an act of treason to not take a loyalty oath that you were required to take. Right? So nobody had to take that oath, but if you're going to claim the office, you had better have taken the oath, because you're not supposed to have done anything until you've taken the oath. They've all committed treason. Now, later, that was taken out and put into the United States Code for the states. I mean, it talks about the several states in 1 Stat 23. But then they put it in the U.S. Code under Title 4, United States Code, Section 101, where it says every member of a state legislature and every executive and judicial officer of a state shall, before he proceeds to execute the duties of his office, take the oath in the following form, to wit, which is the exact same oath, and they haven't done it. In fact, what we're looking at here is something I'm working on to send to as a sworn statement that I had started back in March, right, with the intention of sending this to the Adjutant General for the state of Michigan. But something happened, I got sidetracked, didn't get it done, I'm coming back to it. I'm just saying, that's what I'm doing with this right there. I'm saying that the person pretending to be the governor of Michigan is not the governor of Michigan. Right? Gretchen Esther Whitmer, born on whatever day, currently residing at, well, that's the address of the governor's house, is a person elected governor of Michigan. And she is fraudulently appointed to the military office Commander-in-Chief, Michigan National Guard, in violation.
We're going to pause it right there. So, basically, because the article, or the oath of office, Article 6, 4 U.S.C. 0101, we have no governor, we have no representatives, we have no senate of any states, of each state. And we have no Congress, no Senate, no president. Now, that being said, the president, I do not believe has to take the Article 6. I believe his is the Article 2. And I may be misquoting, but I believe it's an Article 2. Unless he has to fill out the Article 1 or Article 6 and then fill out a separate one for the Article 2. It's been a while since I really looked this up. Anyway, this is Diesel for the People News, and y'all decide what is going on, right? On my other videos I've talked about this before. 14th Amendment, not existent, War Amendment. Well, they're getting a lot of these things into the 14th Amendment, and they're sliding everything under. Regardless what people think, lawyers are not stupid. They're more ignorant now than they were back in the day, because they knew how to write these things It's just lawyers now just follow what the previous people did. So they may not even know what's all going on right here. You know what I mean? Because it's just been followers. They may not realize they're aiding and abetting in martial law against the United States. Anyway, that's my opinion right now, but what do I know? Bar members connected to the England, but do I have factual proof? No. Alrighty? But sometimes not having factual proof does not mean it's not true. Till next time, peace and with the People News. Bye.